Welcome to Beyond Flow. My name is Tammy and this is Maria, and we're your hosts. Today we are going to talk about how to make your dreams come true.
And with that, we want to first of all thank everyone that has shared our videos, that have give us a good feedback in general. And we want to invite everyone to subscribe, to share, subscribe to the channel, to like the videos. And the more we share, the more, I guess, we can reach more people.
Thank you.
So.
So we wanted to do this episode mirroring something that we've done for years, which is to grab a book and just read something, and we end up having conversations about it. So it's something that we've done so many times, and we thought it would be kind of a fun way to open this conversation. So some of the excerpts are going to be coming from this book called Solving the Mystery of Life. It's Self-Realization Fellowship's latest volume of Paramahansa Yogananda's teachings and essays that he did when he was here. This one is from 1940, November 15th, 1940. And this was in Encinitas, California, where one of his temples still exists and is thriving with a great community. So this one is called Connecting Your Life with the Astral World. So we're going to just talk a little bit about where it led in the middle of the talk. So I'm just going to read to you this part here. There is a way to realize your dreams. Imagination is not unreal. It's the borderland of what is yet to be real. Everything you imagine can be created by a will that is guided by wisdom. Jules Verne wrote wonderful books of science fiction, but today those imaginations are real. Think of all the wonders that once were considered fantasy, but have now come true. Somebody imagined the automobile, and somebody else imagined electric lights, and another imagined an airplane, and so on. And now these marvelous inventions are commonplace. I mean, I think we can relate to that with technology,
Correct.
Today, and how so many things have transformed our life, but somebody had to think of it or imagine it or download it. So this is going to continue to talk a little bit more how to materialize your cherished dreams and goals. Imagination is a portal through which you can transcend the imposed limitations of this world. All creative persons use this power. With wisdom and will, whatever you can imagine, continue to imagine, can be real. I tell you that these things which do not exist now in this world will be created for you. Imagination can be materialized. When you develop spiritually, you can materialize your thoughts. When you sit still and let your imagination go as far as you can into the realm of your cherished dreams and goals, and if you can hold your mind to one pointed concentration on the image of what you want to achieve, it will be shown to you in a true-to-life vision. And if you apply strong willpower to realizing that vision, ultimately it will manifest. Healings can be effected, successes attained, disasters in your environment lessened or avoided. Seemingly, your soul is such a powerful dynamo of spiritual existence, and yet you don't utilize the power. Why shouldn't you? By increasing the intensity of your concentration and calmness, you can consciously realize your connection with the unlimited realm of the astral world. In meditation, when you think you are the calmest you can be, try to be even more calm. Gradually, your consciousness will become attuned to the higher dimensions. Get out of limiting material consciousness, and you will see your mind's imaginings working to manifest all your wisdom-guided dreams through the universal underlying creative astral powers.
Wow.
So.
Okay, so that's that's that. I mean, it's a lot, but I think the main I want to say, objective of this podcast is how can we use our imagination, our willpower, the power of concentration to manifest reality. And then how do we go from when we're going through something that we don't, when we ask for something, obviously we don't have it.
Right.
So people say, or I have been in that situation too, where you say, well, how can I obtain something when I have the evidence that I haven't manifested it yet? So this is where I think what Yogananda is saying, the power of imagination, which is what Neville Goddard, which I think you're going to explain a little bit who he was, but he was a mystic. And that was the main thing, is that we have the ability to create our reality in this present moment.
We do.
And how we do that is through intention, meditation, and the power of, for me, is understanding that the law of assumption is it's living from the end result. It's not
Say that again?
So the law of assumption is living from the end result.
Wow.
So it's not about, well, let me think of something, and because you're going to have the evidence that you don't have it.
Right.
But if you go, I mean, to the extent that I was listening to one of his lectures, and he said he used to tell this woman that will come to him and ask, she wanted to marry someone. And he said, buy a wedding ring and wear it in the finger of, in the left hand, and just visualize that person, that man proposing to you.
Wow.
So it's almost like it's not that you're going to manipulate the universe, but you co-create with the universe.
Yes.
And that's also not only through imagination, but also you have to surrender to the will of God, because it's not just what we want, but it's also in God's timing.
Right.
That's why the most powerful thing you can do to manifest your reality is through your imagination. You have to feel it. You have to go into a place of feeling that what you're asking for, it's already given. And then you relax.
Right.
So,
wow, that's huge, to relax. Like it's the Pam Grier. She's an amazing astrologer. She said, "Your focus is your superpower." I thought that was such a great quote. But it's like, yes, your focus, your intention, we light candles, we do different rituals, and we always tell people, do it over and over and over and over again, because you're being consistent with the universe. You're being consistent with yourself. You're not just asking for some magic moment for something to happen. You're being consistent. But then that calmness, that going
correct.
into a place of peace and within, because an agitated soul, you're actually not practicing this law of assumption. If you're tense about it, if you're stressed about it, it's a place of peace. That's the ultimate, like what we want to attain ultimately as human beings is peace. So we have to be in peace even when that thing hasn't shown up yet.
Correct. And this is where we actually, when we are, so this is a great, I guess, tool that people can use. Is the best time that we can use to use our imagination to visualize something is either right before we fall asleep or right after. And just visualize, feel, smell, anything that you can use to, it's almost like you have to fool the senses.
Yeah. And that's why when you're sleeping, sometimes, dreams, but downloads happen, or
Correct.
you wake up with aha moments, because you're not connected to smelling something, eating something, hearing something, stressing about something. Your soul is really just disconnected and actually participating fully with your full self in the upper world. I think your soul travels while you sleep and gathers information and guidance, and that happens. That's why that can be so powerful. Going to sleep visualizing, not going to sleep stressed about what's not there, and then you get to create and co-create.
Yeah. So that's a great thing that we can do to use that for creating a reality. And if you I was reading, like in the Bible, how many times in the Bible they mention faith, and even though they don't talk about imagination, but so there's in the Bible it says, therefore I tell you, whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it and it will be yours.
Ask and it is given.
Ask and it is given. So when I read this passage from the Bible, I said, okay, so therefore I tell you, whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it and it will be yours. That's Mark 11:24. So what is it that then it prevents us from, if we already have a desire, if we already have a dream, if we already have something that we want to bring into reality, that what happens most of the times is that we don't believe that we can have what we're asking for because there's time.
Because we're not patient too sometimes.
Right. So I think that this is where we go, okay, and you have to be consistent and you have to be very specific when you ask for something, when you are praying for something, not only for you, but even for somebody else. Like if you are, I don't know, if you want your friend to find their soulmate, like visualize you spending time with your friend and their soulmate and having dinners and,
right.
So that imagination, it is the most powerful tool that we have to co-create and to create a reality.
Yeah, Neville Goddard said, man is only limited by weakness of attention and poverty of imagination. Powerful. He said, assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled and live as though it were already true. Exactly what you're saying.
Right.
His teachings are just over and over and over this. Yogananda, Esther Hicks, a lot of people listen to the law of attraction channelings from Abraham, and it's always about also aligning your frequency. She always uses, or they, through her, a analogy of the radio. If you want to hear a certain song and you're tuned to 98.6 and it's being played on 102.7, you're not going to hear it.
Correct.
But it's just a matter of fine-tuning your frequency to that to be able to receive.
And how you attune yourself through to that frequency is through meditation.
Absolutely.
And when I talk about meditation, a lot of people go, well, but I can't concentrate. I don't like to sit still. In that stillness is where you are allowing to step into a different vortex, into that different quantum field. That it's not just based on what we can see, hear, touch, smell.
Yeah. So
it's all we go into. That's what the spiritual eye. It's so monumental when we're doing meditation, because you're not going just to, concentrating on the spiritual eye because you want to, disconnect from the body and
have a experience, physical,
vision, transcendental experience, which is amazing.
It's all fine, but
it's also where we can use the imagination to create absolutely everything. And even if it takes, the timing is not up to you, but even if it takes you doing it over and over, be persistent. and then it will, no doubt, it will manifest.
Yeah.
So.
And you know, Yogananda used to talk also about, you know, how we have desires and we have things that we want, and you know, it's this life. He always uses that example of it's like a movie. You're like in a movie projector. You know, you're watching a movie, and the movie's being portrayed on the screen. So, you know, we are definitely here to manifest. We're here to experience, to co-create, to bring things into our lives. But we're also, you know, really here to reconnect. All of the things that we really, really want are not always going to make us happy forever. We think we really need or want it, and there's nothing wrong with that. But the ultimate goal is really connecting to our ultimate life, and it isn't really this one, as hard as that might be for some people to believe. But this physical experience, it's a movie. It's here to teach us things. Every one of us something different. You know, he says the one beam of light, in reference to the movie screen, the one beam of light is throwing all those different scenes on the screen. How pure is this light? How powerful, and how terrible is the movie which it throws on the screen. That is how life is. When we keep our minds on the light, it's wonderful. But when we concentrate on the world, we are caught up in a terrible drama of delusion. You know, so it's like, check yourself too. Stay in balance, making sure that you're understanding a little deeper what we're doing here.
And maybe that's where consciousness takes place. Why are you asking for what you're asking for? Why do you have the desires that you have? And once we get them, you know, most of the times when we ask for something, you know, we get them, and it creates short-term happiness.
Right.
But, you know, I think that also the imagination can come, you know, or the law of assumption it's also not just for the things that we want to materialize in physical objects, but also as a collective. How do we want this world to feel? How can we interact with each other? I think we're living in times where we all feel the heaviness of whether it's politics or everything that is happening, wars, and, you know, so how we're not just here to create for us, but, you know, on a more global collective. You know, how do we want this world to look, this planet to feel?
Yeah.
And so that's also part of the to use what we are given, the faith and the visualization.
The visualization, because this is we're a family. Like we are all connected. Every single soul on this planet that's here at the same time is part of a big picture. We all play a role. We all play a part. Our energy affects others. Our thoughts affect the weather. Everything we do has an impact. And the more we harness that heartfelt vibration, the more we create better and better and better vibrations that impact others. You know, it's so significant, getting outside of ourselves and our own selfishness at times.
So I was reading this book when we talked about doing the podcast about, you know, the law of assumption and imagination. And so I was reading from Becoming Supernatural from Joe Dispenza. And I liked what he said, and I think this is, if we can just like, it's not that difficult. It's not that difficult to co-create if we, or create, you know. But I like what he says, you know, and he says it's about combining a clear intention with elevated emotions. So he says, you know, like you have to, the only place that you can create something is from the present moment.
Yeah.
You can, it's like a river, right? Like you touch the water in that moment, you don't know where the water is coming from, and you don't know where the water is going. Mm-hmm. So you have to be in the present moment to create something. And because that's where all the possibilities are really, that's how you connect to the quantum field. And so anyway, so I liked where he talks about clear intention and elevated emotions. So I wanted to say, because clear intentions, I think, is very self-explanatory. You know, you have to be very clear
and specific.
And
though.
specific.
Like it's detailed. It's not
it's
just
very specific.
Yeah, very clear and very specific. With don't hold back. You know, make the list.
Make the list and describe the colors, how you want things to smell. If it's a house, if it's anything that you want. Okay. And then he talks about, this is the part that I really connected with, which is the elevated emotions. And he says that to call them, you can call them elevated emotions or heartfelt emotions. So this is something that I think it's also monumental in when we are co-creating and when we are practicing right now, because it's, you know, manifestation.
Yeah.
Is that we go into a place of being very specific with what we want to manifest, and then we go into the emotion, and that emotion comes from the heart.
That's it.
How do you know if what you want to create, it's
an
good,
elevated emotion?
It's an elevated emotion. Yeah. It's, you have to feel it in your heart.
Yeah.
You go into, if it feels good in your heart. But you can't create from a place of lack, from a place of despair.
Right.
You
it's
know,
like there's like a scale, right?
Correct.
Yeah, it's like a scale of sadness, defeat, anger, and
disappointment.
And you start working up the scale, and it's joy, you know, it's optimism.
It's faith.
It's faith. It's laughter.
Love.
It's being inquisitive, being inspired. These feelings, you know, they're elevated. Those all come from here. They come from the center where the chakras meet. It's the center,
and that's
the heart.
You know, there's a story of you know, how we look at life. It's also it's a reflection of us. It's everyone is a mirror. So there's a story of two brothers. They're twin brothers, and like, this is for real. This is not just but it's an actual interview that they did to these two brothers. They're from India, and so twins.
Yeah.
And one became a very successful, like, millionaire businessman, and the other one, it's like homeless, fell into alcohol addiction. And so when, you know, they asked him, you know, so what made you, what inspired
your
you,
life get so different if you're twins,
so different, and you're twins.
Family. Yeah.
And they both answered the same thing. They both said, my father was an alcoholic.
Wow.
So one used that experience to transform it completely. That was his fuel. And the other person just felt victim.
Used it to be defeated. Yeah.
Right. So we have the ability we can experience the same picture. We can be presented with the same picture, and then we can experience it differently.
Wow.
So that's why no matter what we go through, and I think this is what, for me, is the meaning of this episode, is that no matter what we are going through, we can always change it. We can always change our reality. we can always create our reality. Every minute we are creating it.
Yeah.
You know, that's why the power of words are so important too. Because we're creating a reality when we talk, when we
Yeah.
say something about ourselves, when we talk about other people, you know. So it is that, I guess, powerful tool and opportunity that we can have, so that we know that we don't have to be in despair, even if we don't have the proof that what we are asking for is not being materialized.
Yeah.
So
we don't have to live defeated. We go through things, but that isn't the end of the story. The
Correct.
story isn't over. You're still here.
right.
So you're not finished, you know? So there's always an opportunity. Yogananda said how important it is to live in that finer realm. I'm all the time there. Even now, as I'm talking to you, such happiness comes. There are no words I can use to describe it to you. In this gross world, you get tired of everything. Even the most enjoyable things eventually become tedious and boring. But in the astral world, the creations of your will are ever new. You will never tire of that world.
Well,
This is the ultimate. Is to create our connection, our divine connection to love. That's happiness. That's the ultimate truth.
absolutely. Well, I think that's that says a lot to, not only to why do we want to create the things that we want to create, but to never forget that, you know, as much as we want to manifest things on this physical realm, that is not where the ultimate happiness happens.
Right.
That the ultimate happiness happens from our connection to the divine, and there's no other way to live, so that we can be an extension of that light, and to go there, to
Yeah.
constantly go to, even before we wrap it up, even if we're going through something that doesn't feel good, I think that's when we have to go to that place the most, to the astral,
Yep.
because that's where everything is perfect anyway.
Yeah.
That we're always going to experience contrast in this physical world. We're always going to be shown the things that aren't perfect. But in the astral, it's all perfect.
That's where joy is.
That's where joy is. And just when we feel that maybe lack, sadness, this is not going to happen for me, I'm never going to meet my soulmate, the job is never, the promotion is never going to come, go there, imagine every bit of that creation, feel it, visualize it, and just go to the end of that, what you want to manifest,
and feel the peace.
And feel
when
the
you
peace.
feel the peace, you're guaranteed success.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.